I'm gonna bring you ladies down a notch. You seem a little too happy. James Cameron thinks women ain't shit. Let's talk about it. All right, so James Cameron.
Enthusiasm.
James Cameron, otherwise known for Terminator 2, Aliens, and other great movies that he came in and took over franchises for.
And then a bunch of trash.
Yeah, it's true.
So what movies has he done?
Titanic, Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar is terrible. But what else? He did The Abyss.
The Abyss is a great movie. That's
like
a great
if
movie.
you go through his filmography,
James Cameron is largely a talented dude, but that doesn't mean that he is exempt from having shitty, misinformed opinions.
Oh,
of course.
Without a doubt. Although I agree with some of the things he said. Let's talk about it.
I'm trying to load this article.
Your anger, your feminist anger is disallowing.
I want to be angry.
Come on, God damn it, James Cameron. Okay, so James Cameron was asked about his thoughts on Wonder Woman because obviously he has done some very strong female characters in his movies, right? Sarah Connor in Terminator 2. Like,
okay.
I mean, without a doubt, one of the strongest action female characters, bar none. Like she is. And so he was talking about it, and he didn't say he didn't like the movie, but he made some. He said he made a couple of comments that I thought were interesting. He says she's an objectified icon, and it's just male Hollywood doing the same old thing. I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, but to me, it's a step backwards. And that was the line that really people were just like, "Fuck you, James Cameron."
But then, of course, he was like, "But my original character, Do Not Steal, Sarah Connor, is the best, and Wonder Woman." Clearly doesn't compare. Like,
I mean, yeah, it was a little self-congratulating. Like,
yeah, he's like,
yeah,
my character
I don't want to take away. I don't want to take away. You know, he says Sarah Connor was not a beauty icon. She was strong. She was troubled. She was a terrible mother. She earned the respect of the audience through pure grit. And to me, the benefit of characters like Sarah is so obvious. I mean, half the audience is female. Like, okay.
I mean, look,
all of that is true.
All of it's true. Absolutely.
All of that is true. But I don't understand why he needed to make that comparison in an attempt to take away from Wonder Woman.
I think that's fair.
And then here's this quote: "Being attracted to strong, independent women has a downside that they're strong, independent women. They inherently don't need you." Cameron said, "Fortunately, I'm married to a strong, independent woman who does believe she needs me." What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
When I read, I was like,
"That's why."
Yeah. That's that fucking like animated gets like what? Like
it's like a Stewie like
yeah, that so, she like, does need.
Here's the thing. Like here's the I think inherent difference between like a Sarah Connor character who is troubled and flawed and gritty and whatever the fuck.
She's well rounded. In fairness, she's well rounded.
Yeah. And you know, Wonder Woman in the solo film is basically like a little tiny baby lamb that's being kicked out into war for the first time. Like it's a very different story. Like she is introduced to the troubles of the world and to the troubles of humans in that film. Mm-hmm. She hasn't, you know, she struggles with dealing with the fact that sometimes people are just inherently shitty.
Right.
Like she was led to believe that people are inherently good and that it was Ares who was turning humans against each other. And as it turned out, she was lied to, and Ares was basically just manipulating humans into being what they are, which are shitty assholes to each other.
Yep, that will murder each other on an island.
Yep. And I think, you know, I don't think Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, like, needed to be any more gritty or any more troubled, because the whole point was that she was naive. She was raised in paradise. She was raised without any trouble. She was raised as the only child on an island of Amazon to all bent to her every whim because she was the princess of Themyscira. Mm-hmm. She didn't have a fucking trouble in the world until Chris Pine showed up, and then
dudes, because men are trash.
But even when they showed up, it's not like, you know, her character automatically was like, "Oh, Chris Pine, I need your help." They work together as a team,
right?
She still had her agency there with her,
right? So I agree 100% with all of that. I really do. but I do think there is, and it's shown in the movie, right? And I didn't personally take it as like being an offensive thing. I actually thought it worked to an equality angle of these movies, which is there is a scene legitimately where she gets to London and she is walking through this crowd of like filthy, dirty Londoners, and everyone's like, "Wow, she's so beautiful," whatever. Right. And she is like. Cameron is right. She's objectified. They're like, holy shit, that is the most beautiful person I've ever seen because she grew up in paradise where they were like pouring milk on your skin to make you perfect, right? So, like, he's right, but what he misses the point there is being objectified, especially as a superhero and things like that, is par for the course for these characters.
Right.
They're not supposed to be like us. They're supposed to be above us.
Right.
Are we really pretending that Marvel just happened to have Chris Evans in a tight t-shirt fucking curl a goddamn helicopter by mistake? It's to show how fucking awesome he looks.
Right.
Heroes.
And every woman in that fucking scene was like, when that scene came, I was like, it's fucking Splash Mountain. And look, and you guys are like, I wish I could curl a helicopter. Like, yeah, like so. Objectifying is not on its face wrong. Right. It's actually showing that is what these characters are.
Right.
And so I think that's okay. But he's taking it in a very like literal.
Right. He's like, they were looking at her and that is bad. And it's like lighten up a little bit. Because
right. That actually takes feminism to a point that doesn't make sense. Like, and I hear like sort of dime store Tumblr feminism like that. It's like, I don't want a guy to even think I'm attractive. I'm like, but are you into guys? Yes. And what the fuck, dude? Like that doesn't make any sense.
No, I want guys to find me attractive, but I want them to keep their fucking mouth shut.
Right, you don't want to be like, hey, Tits McGee over there. Like, right, that's a reasonable thing. But like some women are like, don't even look at me, don't objectify me. I'm like, don't be an asshole, but like you can be like, yeah, I kind of want to touch that ass. Yeah. Like, but like with your consent.
Right.
Like that's
that's all I ask for.
I want you to be into it.
Yeah.
Right.
My thing with what he said is it's like he's negating Terminator 1. We watched her grow from a damsel in distress that had a fucking traumatic experience. She was suffering from PTSD in the second movie. Yeah. So she was fucking crazy. Well, she wasn't necessarily crazy, but like by the time
she was like crazy smart.
By the time the second movie came out, she had been put in a nut house and she was like, I don't need to be here. You motherfuckers are gonna die if you don't let me out. She became a badass, but she wasn't just born a badass. She was like fucking terrified in the first movie.
Yeah, she had to work for it. Now, I will say this. So one of the other things that is interesting about that whole idea is like, she gained that grit or whatever, and what's his comment? Like, she wasn't a beauty queen and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Look. I personally thought she looked like a fucking badass in the second one when she had like the machine gun or whatever.
She was ready to go to war?
I was like, you kind of doing it for me. Like, I'm not going to lie. She was like way too skinny though. But like, you're kind of doing it for me. Like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can't just be like, oh no, she was a beauty icon. Like
I'm sure there were some people that found it attractive. Not me, but.
I was like, yeah,
pull-ups and shit. Like,
I was like, yeah, talk that, do that.
I mean, I do
shoot that
just
sniper rifle into Miles Dyson's shoulder. I like that.
I do just want to quickly read Patty Jenkins' clapback to this.
She was none too pleased.
Yeah, she
that would have been hilarious. Patty Jenkins, nigga, shut up. That's it. Like, damn. Like, you know what? I'll allow it. You know what?
Wonder Woman is
you get one.
Like, you get one, Patty Jenkins. This was value. All right, do it.
She said, James Cameron's inability to understand what Wonder Woman is or stands for to women all over the world is unsurprising as, though he is a great filmmaker, he is not a woman. Damn. Strong women are great. His praise of my film Monster and our portrayal of a strong yet damaged woman was so appreciated. But if women always have to be hard, tough, and troubled to be strong, we aren't free. And we aren't free to be multidimensional or celebrate an icon of women everywhere because she is attractive and loving, then we haven't come very far, have we? I believe women can and should be everything just like male lead characters should be. There is no right and wrong kind of powerful woman, and if the massive female audience who made the film the hit it is, can surely choose and judge their own icons of progress.
Yep.
I believe the the only response to that is yes, queen. I don't know.
Yes, queen.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
I mean,
the thing.
that's a solid response.
Because what I got from James Cameron's comments is that she can't be pretty, strong, and independent at the same time.
Right,
She
he's
has-
got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, nigga, come on.
I'm
now.
like-
She
What
doesn't
you
need to be
talking
covered
about?
in dirt.
Right.
First of all, she was pretty banged up at the end of that movie.
and her hair was
anyway,
still pretty.
it was still on point. But like the thing is, she was.
That's a hilarious moment where James Cameron is like, see. Hair had to be perfect.
You know,
didn't it?
she
But she
was-
still kicked ass though.
She was, she was having the shit beat out of her. Like, she won the battle with Ares because of her love for Steve Trevor.
Right.
And that sense of loss
Right.
is what powered her through the end of that fight.
So what you're saying is she wouldn't have been able to do it without a man.
That's not what I'm saying.
Damn.
I'm saying, like, it
That's
goes
what.
back.
By the way,
James Cameron saying.
that's what I'm saying.
It's it pulls I think a lot from like the theme song to the 70s show, which was Win a War with Love, which is exactly what she was able to do.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Just by her love of humans that she learned by being a naive Amazon living amongst humans for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
And strong fucking Chris Pine that one night.
Yeah. And bulldozing
Snoo
churches.
snooing Chris Pine that one night.
I'm gonna be the big spoon. All right. I can't lift a tank, so you're the big spoon. I get it. I think Jenkins' response is about as good as it gets. Like it's a solid response. It's respectful to him and not like shitting like fuck you. You don't know shit about movies.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
actually, that's not true. But it's also brings to a great point, which is you don't have to put women or we see this with minorities too. Like you don't have to put women or minorities in a box
Right.
for them to be socially acceptable.
Right.
Like, and that goes back to the conversation we had about the Lord of the Flies thing. Like, there will be think pieces like, why are they showing women as violent? Because women can be violent monsters just like men.
Right.
And the reason why the movie Monster is so good is because it is showing like violence and brutality is often attributed to men only, which is
Right.
not true at fucking all.
No.
Right.
Women can be just as vicious and mean and caring and loving, all of that shit as men can be. So there's no reason why a woman can't be beautiful and also a fucking tank that blows the top of a fucking just church out
Right.
with a shield, which was fucking awesome. She can do that shit just the same as a man can. So like you can make them dynamic and have them be multifaceted, which I think is important.
Yeah. These are very white tip comments of from James Cameron. I'm not feeling this at all.
You say white tip?
Yep, white tip.
Is that
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
You just make it up?
I don't know. But this is like
I feel like white tip doesn't work. It needs to be like what's like eagle tip or like
what is the white version of Hotep?
Most
Nazi?
white men.
yeah, I was gonna say like a Nazi.
Richard
Spencer.
Most white men, I think, are
They're a little hotep.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Brotep.
bro-tep.
There it is.
No, bro,
There
I
it
like
is.
that.
There it
The
is.
caucasity of
Yeah,
James
I mean,
The caucasity.
That shit is fucking funny as hell.
it is. I mean, like it really is like a very stereotypical, like straight white man thing to
Yeah.
say.
It
Of
is.
like, oh, Wonder Woman wasn't a good, strong female icon, but these ones that I worked
Right,
on,
he
they're
fucking
they're,
killed
they're
them.
really
Yeah.
good.
Fucking
These are the
bullshit.
best ones. I have
Yeah, I did
the best
Avatar.
females.
Yes.
The most beautiful female.
That was very Trump-esque of him. Son of a bitch.